So many people just don't, they're too nervous to try other modalities or breathing techniques or even tiny things that they don't think will make a big difference. They're too nervous to even try those things. They also just need a healing practitioner that's on their team. I came in for an appointment one day and she was very upfront with me and she was like, "You're not feeling better from these sessions. I'm not going to take your money today. This is who I'm going to refer you to." And she referred me to an osteopath that helped me with my ribs and the fascial bundles. And like, after seeing the osteopath, I felt like that was the first time in like 3 to 4 years where I could actually take a deep breath. And so one of the most fulfilling things in my practice is telling people about fascia and like educating them and then seeing the progress that they make literally from one session. Yeah. From us doing the massage and fascial techniques to giving them fascial techniques to do at home, and having them drink more water and all that. And then they come back the next day or for their next session. The immense progress that they make is the most fulfilling thing that I get to see. It's so cool.
Welcome back to the Gamma Seeker broadcast. I have with me today Grace Leger, who is a therapist outside of Boulder, Colorado, who is opening multiple practices now at the ripe age of 23 and helping people so much take the sovereignty back into their body and release their muscles from at home. Her channel is dedicated to bringing people back to that inner state of peace and ease. And Grace, thank you so much for taking time out of your badass lifestyle to hang out with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So I call this broadcast, even though my channel is musical breathwork, I call this the Gamma Seekers because I love the body and I love the breath, but it's really about optimal performance. And there is a brainwave that we can tune ourselves to when our body is free and open and our breath rate is nice and relaxed. So I want you to be able to kind of riff, even though you talk so much about the body and muscles, about performance and recovery and what you've learned through your own injuries and coming back from it. So can you tell us a little bit about what got you into this work?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been a competitive runner since I was 8 years old, and I was competing competitively in high school on the track team. And I went through a variety of small injuries that were very frustrating. And then I hit a point my sophomore year, I was 15, where we did a running workout and then went into the weight room. And we had our one running coach in charge of 20 scrawny long distance runners and telling us to lift heavy weights for an upper body workout. In hindsight, the situation was very screwed up, but we did power cleans at the end of the workout. So if you know anything about weightlifting, you know that that is a big no-no. And so I did one set of the power cleans just fine. And then I told my coach, "Hey, sorry, I'm feeling a little bit fatigued. I think I need to stop now." And he called me lazy to my face and told me to keep going. And so being the ripe 15-year-old that I was, I picked up the barbell and did another set, and I used my back for it instead of all of the other muscles you're supposed to use for a lift like the power clean. And I popped a rib out of place. And so now I have hypermobile ribs because when one rib pops out, they all like to pop out like a domino effect. And at the time, I did not know about different holistic approaches. I grew up in a very Western medicine, Midwestern household. And so we would go from doctor to doctor, and they don't really know what, they didn't know what to do with me. I didn't have EDS. I wasn't hypermobile everywhere. It was just my ribs. And the most common advice that I got from every doctor was, well, just don't do the things that pop your ribs out of place. And I'm like, oh, right. No, easy. I just won't take a deep breath. I won't sneeze. I won't go on a run. I won't exercise anymore. Because essentially what would happen, the cycle I got into, because I kept running after I got injured, the cycle I got into was go on a run at the same pace I'm used to running. And at the time I was training at like a 7:30, 8-minute mile pace as like my casual jaunt. And I would go out and my heart rate would get to a certain rate, probably in like the level 3 range, and my breath rate would go with it. And once my breath rate got to a point where I had to start breathing with my chest instead of just my stomach or just my diaphragm, then I'd pop one rib out of place from just taking a deep breath in the same way that when any of us get exhausted, we kind of take that extra gasp of air. When one rib would pop out, they'd all pop out. And then if I didn't stop running, I would hyperventilate. And that would be the cycle I went through. And at that time, running was my only coping mechanism I had for any of my mental health, anything. Like I was frustrated, I'd go on a run. I was sad, I'd go on a run. And so that was taken away from me. And I had a lot of feelings around that injury specifically, and I didn't know what to do with them. So it definitely I took a nice 4-year spiral of just not running, not doing anything. I was doing exactly what the doctors told me. Nothing. And it wasn't until I went to massage school. So I went to CU Boulder to get my degree in psychology, and I wanted to go into sports psychology after all of this. I learned a lot about when I saw a therapist during that injury. That was one of the things that brought me out of that spiral. And I learned a lot from that. And that's what I wanted to do for a long time, was be a sports psychologist for competitive athletes. And then I was in school during COVID, and being the type A person that I was bored and didn't know how to relax and just be. So I went to massage school while I was at CU Boulder getting my bachelor's. And in massage, that was like the best thing that ever happened to me. I applied on a whim. I didn't think it through. I just applied and said, if the universe wants me to do this, then I'll accept the offer if I even get in. And
that's so beautiful.
Yes. COVID was a wild time because I was like, you know what? I'm not doing much. Let's just see. And it went great. And I just knew that like the universe wanted me to do this. Things were falling into place in the right way. And I came out of massage school a completely different person than I went in. And I just got goosebumps as I said that. And I learned about my injuries, and I was actually able to educate myself about what was going on. And that led me to not be afraid of my own body and afraid of my injury. So that led me to feel more empowered about it and try different things and try different healing modalities, different types of exercise, and just talk to more people about it. So that led me to where I am today. And it's why I'm so passionate about what I do, because so many people just they're too nervous to try other modalities or breathing techniques or even tiny things that they don't think will make a big difference. They're too nervous to even try those things. And they also just need a healing practitioner that's on their team. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. So you kind of covered how you started. Where are you at now? I mean, I know that you're expanding, but can you talk to me about so you went to massage school and then you started practicing on people. Are you focused on athletes a lot? Is that like your mainstay client for the most part?
Mm-hmm. So when I originally started my practice 2.5 years ago, I initially started with athletes. To get a clientele, I DM'd athletes on Instagram, and I said, hey, like in Boulder, and I said, hey, I will come to your house, 50% off massages. I'm just getting started building my practice. Do you want a 50% off massage? And probably 75% of them said yes. Because most of the athletes in the area are like, a cheap massage from someone that likes sports massage. Great. Perfect. Done. And that will come to my house. Like they get massages every week. So they're just like, sign me up. And it was really cool. I met a lot of the professional athletes that I had looked up to as a competitive runner for so long too. So that was really cool. But I started with athletes. and I was marketing toward them, recruiting them, getting in their network. And then there was a certain switch that happened maybe 10 months into my practice where suddenly the athletes I was working on, some of them stayed, some of them transitioned, whether they moved or just found someone else. And I started just like getting a rush of clients that had random, mysterious chronic pain or like lingering injuries that had not been resolved. They don't know what's going on. Maybe they've had imaging done, but the imaging comes back normal and the pain is still there and they don't know what to do. Those are my
Fascia.
favorite. Yes.
Yes.
Those are, yes, exactly. Those are my favorite clients. And I love educating them on what's going on and tracking down like the culprit muscle, the culprit fascial bun, like any of and all of it. I've also had clients where we make immense progress and then it kind of plateaus. And then we look at more of like the mind body effect. Like, is it more of like a pain reprocessing issue? Do I need to send you to like a somatic experience person? Is it trauma? What is it? So I work with a variety of practitioners outside of just massage, and I will happily refer out to people and be like, go see them for a little bit, come back to me when you're done, let me know how that goes.
Wow, that is so cool of you. So you're not only taking care of them, but you're liaisoning so their health continues to improve. I really respect
Yes.
that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a big part of my journey when I first started seeing holistic practitioners for my hypermobile ribs. I
Mm-hmm.
saw an acupuncturist here in Boulder, and acupuncture was not helping my ribs. And at the time, I didn't know that enough. You know, I after 4 sessions with acupuncture, at least seeing her, you should feel even a little bit of a difference if that's the right treatment for you. And I came in for an appointment one day and she was very upfront with me and she was like, you're not feeling better from these sessions. I'm not going to take your money today. This is who I'm going to refer you to. And she referred me to an osteopath that helped me with my ribs and the fascial bundles. And like after seeing the osteopath, I um, felt like that was the first time in like 3 to 4 years where I could actually take a deep breath.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I have immense respect for that acupuncturist. I circled like 6 months ago, I circled back and started seeing her again. And I'm like, I missed you. It's been a while. This is awesome. Um, anyway, yeah. So I have immense respect for that practitioner, and I'm a firm believer in that like clients will always come back if they respect you and like your work. It's not about them coming in every week or them coming in once a month. It's like, no, send them to where you genuinely think their chronic pain or health journey needs to go. And if they want to, they'll come back.
You know, you've chopped two nuggets already that I think are really important. And that's like you started your practice by DMing people and giving them a 50% off.
Yeah.
If anybody's like listening, that is an amazing way to start a business. And then also, you're talking about building trust with clients by not
Mm-hmm.
maybe continually taking their money to have the consistency, but building the long-term trust. Those are two incredible things.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like my whole thing is that it's like not a transactional massage. Like this is a journey together and we are working toward your long-term health, and whether that's your longevity of your body and you're already in a good place, but like let's keep you that way, or
Mm-hmm.
if you're right in the middle of it and have dealt with this chronic pain for like 10 years and you're finally wanting to get to the bottom of it, like let's do it. So that has been my personal journey starting the practice and everything. I started getting booked out 6 weeks about a year ago and realized I don't want to massage this much anymore. I was getting carpal tunnel. I was feeling drained all the time
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to expand. And right now I'm working out of one massage room in a suite with other practitioners and I just rent the room 24/7. And so I hired 2 other massage therapists to work for me when I'm not there on other clients.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost a year ago, maybe like 10 months ago. And I trained them under my same modalities and injury rehab techniques. And then just like, I call it like just the healing philosophy in general of exactly what we just talked about, gaining trust with clients, being in it for their long-term health, actively listening to them, giving them hope and empowering them to try new things and try different techniques and not let them get in this like rut of like, all right, I guess I'll just keep coming back every 2 weeks because I feel better for a couple days after the massage. Yeah.
I'm curious about like the constant thing that you see in clients. Like what is a tip that you find yourself saying to 100% of people?
Oh, that's a great question. Probably that you need to move your body.
Okay.
And that is like different for every client, but I would say that's the general consensus with anyone with pain or wanting to maintain the longevity of your body. And you know this very well. It's just like the answer most of the time is movement of any kind. Even if your mobility is really limited right now, moving in any possible way that you can is what will help your body long term. And whether that's rolling out specific muscles, rolling out the fascia, doing breath work, doing yoga, maybe it's weightlifting, whatever it is.
Walking, being in the sunshine,
Walking.
laying on the earth and
Yes.
stretching, like whatever it may look
Exactly,
like.
exactly. I had a conversation with my grandma who has had a lot of health stuff going on recently, and her neck is stiff all the time. And I just sat down and I had a discussion with her of like, what can you do that feels okay? And we went through what she can do, what she feels okay doing, and I'm like, great, do that for like 30 minutes in the morning if you can. Do like slight neck circles, even if your neck can't really get that far. Do it anyway, because if you do it every day, it'll probably increase range of motion over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Curious, because we both come with a language of fascia and an understanding of fascia and how fascia is the web and how it's where the pain is not usually the originating source of where the problem is.
Yes.
How is it that you kind of dissect that with your clients?
Yeah, definitely. When they're on the table, so typically what I see with clients is they'll come in and they'll say that maybe their shoulder hurts, and I'll say, okay, what movements that you do make it hurt more or exacerbate the pain? And they'll say like, this movement hurts. And so then when they're on the table, I'll have them do that movement and hold it, and I will palpate around their shoulder girdle, around their low back, around kind of the areas where I know the muscles are activating, obviously, in those areas, but I'll also palpate the fascia in certain areas, especially around any nerve bundles and the areas that we just know the fascial fibers lay and are connected to each other in different areas. Like I'll always check like the triangles around that joint too. So if it's their shoulder, I'll check their mid other side back, and then I'll check their low back, and more often than not, like we'll feel either random muscles activating, fascial knots in that area that we need to work out. Yeah. So that's usually how I go about it, is I'm like, what makes the pain worse? Okay, that's exactly like the action and how your body is when you're in pain from that action. Let's track it down.
Yeah. Awesome. How often do you talk about hydration with your clients?
Ooh, a lot. It's so hard to get clients' attention with hydration because they hear it all the time. They're like, oh, yeah, I know. I should always be drinking more water. Oh, yeah, I know. But what I find works best is when they're on the table and we're talking about fascia already, just from their injury, from whatever. And that's when I work in the hydration. And I'm like,
I've been using the sponge like for everybody. And I have this like tiny sea sponge that I bring with me when I travel.
Yes.
And I will like often let it dry out. And I tell everybody this. I'm like, this is the best interconnective tissue for us to get that across, because the other models like that just show it as plastic wrap. I mean, most people are visual learners. So it doesn't really register like what hydration can do. And I have been like, I think getting through to people with a sponge, and I'm like, okay, so feel this dry one. And it's like brittle and stiff. And it's like, all right, so remember what you were just saying about your knees. Yep. And then we hydrate it, and it's like, okay, now how does this feel? And I'm a big, because of my injuries as an athlete,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that hydration is like equal. So just because you're drinking in a ton of water doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that it's getting to your left foot like it is your right foot. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you have a ton of adhesions, I pretend this is the lower leg. This is a loofah, by the way. It was the best $7 investment at a Latina grocery store that I've ever
That's
had.
amazing.
I highly recommend. This has been a lifesaver. I have used a million words and then I brought this out and it got through. And I'm like, wow, this is just more. This is wise. This is a wise way to
I
talk about it.
need to put one of those in the office as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
And I got it. Like you can even see, because you know how the major fascia bands are like more
Mm-hmm.
dense. It's like
Mm-hmm.
even allows us to kind of show how it's like, yeah, some spaces are a little more loose, some spaces are more
Mm-hmm.
structurally inherently.
Yeah.
But this has really helped me get people to the understanding of like if you have a bunch of scar tissue here in your hamstring or your quad, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be affecting the hydration level that moves. And when you're a runner
Mm-hmm.
and you've put the same amount of miles on both legs, but yet one knee is in horrible shape and the other one is fine. It's like,
Yeah.
well, are we dealing with issues that's creating blockages in the dehydrated fascia?
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. I could not agree more. And it's telling clients about, like, educating them about the fascia,
Mhm.
because almost no one knows about fascia unless they've talked to someone like us or another practitioner that's educated them about it. People don't know about it. And so one of the most fulfilling things in my practice is telling people about fascia and like educating them and then seeing the progress that they make literally from one session,
Yeah.
from us doing the massage and fascial techniques to giving them fascial techniques to do at home,
Hmm.
and having them drink more water and all that, and then they come back the next day or for their next session. The immense progress that they make is the most fulfilling thing that I get to see. It's so cool. So.
It's wonderful that you are interested in their longevity because a lot of massage therapists are just like excited to have somebody consistent in their books.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that like at home techniques can make any massage therapist work maintain so much longer. Like if you only get to see
Mm-hmm.
somebody once a month.
Yep.
I am curious. I know that your channel on Instagram is loaded with at-home techniques for people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever assign like hot baths or saunas or steam room adjacent with your practice in order for them to create fluidity?
Always. Always. So when a client comes in for a session, specifically a first time client,
Mhm.
we go through all their chronic pain, we do the session, and then when they're off the table, while they're getting dressed after the session, I am writing down on a post-it note all of the possible other modalities, exercises they could do at home, other practitioners in the area, um, anything I can genuinely think of. I kind of just mentally vomit information onto a post-it note, and then
Mhm.
I go through it one by one with them. And I tell them, I'm like, I'm about to overwhelm you with information. My job is to give you as many resources as possible of like things that we can do that will help you or should help you. You can pick and choose what resonates best, what you've tried and you think works really well for your body, because you only know your body, like, you know your body as much as anyone does. You try these, stick with the ones that work best for you and that you feel the most impact from. So that totally includes hot, cold plunges. I encourage a lot of my clients in the summer to go and cold plunge in the creek and or like do a certain type of breath work while they're in the cold plunge or in the creek. And doing breath work at home, I teach them a lot of different small nervous system things that they can implement into their life, because that seems to also be a general thing. I would say very similarly to moving every day, I would say I educate 90% of my clients on how to regulate their nervous system and why that's important. And then that links into the fascia and everything as well. But yeah, so it's usually like I'll send them home with a handful of fascial techniques with a lacrosse ball, and then I'll send them home with a few nervous system techniques, and then I'll send them home with a few other practitioners I think they could see that would benefit them. And then they have affordable options and options if they do have extra resources too. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
That is really great.
Yeah.
What do you think young athletes could do to prevent injury? So, like, that's again, we're talking to that 15-year-old self.
Um, from my experience, you know your body the best way that anyone will ever know. No one knows your body more than you. So if you don't want to do something because you have a sneaking suspicion that it's gonna not feel good in your body, don't do it.
Hmm.
Don't do it. And that's really hard to know when you are so young because it's hard to know that you're in touch with your gut and you're in touch with how your body should feel and all that stuff at that time. But if I had to go back, that's what I would say is like, don't be afraid to say no. Um, and then I would just start caring for your body at a younger age.
So, recovery. Because I don't know about you, but that was never taught to me by my coaches how to recover outside of a
Mm-hmm.
foam roller. And I've spent more hours on a foam roller than anybody I know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I had no sequence. I did not understand how to be hydrated. I didn't understand which direction. I just laid on it and rolled.
Yes. Yes. What I really wish they did for high school athletes specifically, and probably into college, but it's just like educating them on injury prevention and injury recovery too, or just general recovery from performance. Because coaches will tell you to do things, but no one tells you why. That's the issue. That was my issue when I was 15, was like I would lay on the floor and roll out my calves for like an hour, but no one told me why it was important. And I would do an ice bath before, like the night before a race, but no one told me that it could actually help with my anxiety around it. And maybe I should do it day of, or maybe I should do it every day for a week leading up to it. Like, also, no one told me about the breath work that you should do in a cold plunge either. So I was just sitting there holding my breath the whole time. Anyway, but I think just educating our younger populations is what's going to empower them to stay healthy and do the things they need to for recovery, because information is power.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say you are dealing with an athlete like myself. Like I had 3 crazy scar tissue injuries, 2 in my right quad and then 1 in my right hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
And I was given ice and stem over and over and over and over and over and over until I had developed bursitis in my right hip
Mm.
because of the asymmetrical tension that I had created. So no matter how often I went and saw the chiropractor, my hip tilt would come back
Yep.
because I was dealing with so much fascia tension.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious, and I would love to kind of dive deep into this. What is your framework and perspective about healing old scar tissue that an athlete has trained over for a handful of years?
Yeah, totally. First, I'll usually like if we're gonna take maybe with like runners specifically, there's usually like a big fascial knot above their knees from tight quads and tight IT bands and all that. So I'll take that for example. But if they come in with that, I will palpate and kind of find the fascial knot, if you will. That's like actually probably giving them pain and they can feel the stiffness right there. And then we'll kind of track the other culprit areas from there. So it's usually like an attachment in the hip and the outer hip from the knee, and then that goes into the back, and then from the knee it also will go into like that medial lower leg line. And we'll essentially, I like to use my Graston tool to work
Okay.
on the fascia. It
Okay.
depends on their body. I have other manual techniques that I'll use. Sometimes I'll use cupping. It depends on their body, but my go-to, especially for like around the knee, for example, is usually the Graston tools. And I don't do it until they bruise. I just do it until the skin turns red, and then we move on, and then we'll come back, because I personally don't like it when my clients have an actual bruise that they have to heal from. I don't love that. So that's a very controversial topic in the healing world, though. Some people think the bruising is really great, and some people are anti-bruising, and it's not that big of a deal, but I just choose to not bruise them. So, but when I use the scraping tool, I will scrape away from the joint so
Mm-hmm.
that the fascia and the scar tissue is moving out and creating space around the joint.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll essentially just find, I honestly just play the game of like chasing the fascial knots. And it's all connected to each other, but finding like the culprit fascial attachment areas that are holding the most, I find that we get the best results from breaking up the fascia in those areas, and then it kind of melts to it melts down.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that's been why fascia recovery has been protected by therapists, because so many people, when they start to palpate, this area may be really uncomfortable and this is tender, but it's easier to work on the tender spots.
Yeah.
But sometimes these tender spots are just looseness that has been created by all of the density on this other side.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate what you said about the bruising, because I think it depends on how quickly people want to move through something.
Mm-hmm.
So like in rolfing, it's just typical that, you know, your body's going to be shredded apart.
Mm-hmm.
And like cupping, that happens naturally. But if you're an athlete who's like tournament training, it's kind of weird to, you know, go back and train the next morning if you're bruised. So
Yeah.
it's nice to know where there's a level. Would you also coach them through the fact that this is going to take an extended period of time? It's not going to be clear in 3 sessions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, my favorite example of working with the fascia specifically is with plantar fasciitis clients that come see me, because most of the time they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Like, very happy they're in the office, they are about to feel a ton better. But like, all of them would rather I work on the heel and on the foot.
And you're like, that's
I'm like,
not where the problem
guys, like, I will spend 60 minutes scraping their lower legs and into their upper thighs, never like right above the knee. And there's so much more to that we get to eventually. But the beginning, like first, probably 10 sessions, we're just breaking up that scar tissue. And it gets better every time. That's the cool thing about fascial work, is it gets less tender every time you come in. And so that's nice. But it's like the first session is always the most torturous. And I just apologize every like 10 minutes during the session. I'm like, I'm sorry, girl. I'm so sorry. But while we're doing it, I'm educating them on why it's important and how it all connects. And it's kind of like, as long as they have an understanding, as long as they know the why, they're cool with it. And then they get off the table and they're like, that feels amazing. I'm not in pain anymore. Or the pain goes from like an 8 out of 10 to like a 4 out of 10. And it's a ton better. And then I give them exercises to do at home, and their progress is usually between like a month to like 6 months before it's gone. And so I do lay out the timeline a little bit. I'm like, I need you to come in for at least a 30-minute session every week or twice a week, and then we'll reassess in a month. And I try not to sound too salesy, so I try to just tell clients, I'm like, this is not me roping you in. If you want to go see another therapist, go do it. But I'm telling you, we can get this done in this amount of time, and this is what your body needs because this is going on.
Do you mind this? This is going to be a little controversial too, but I'm curious about your, like, do you ever recommend? And I will say, just to like kind of like lay the foundation in a way where you don't feel like any judgment which way you go. I don't ever recommend like anti-inflammatories to people. I would highly recommend like ginger or turmeric or like RSO cream to get out of pain. Because, you know, anti-inflammatories go to the brain and then they numb the brain. And that's why it works for our knee and our shoulder and our hip. But I am curious, because of the nature of elite athletes in Boulder. What do you say to people that are, you know, in chronic pain in between sessions to deal with it?
Yeah, so I inform them that if they take like ibuprofen or an NSAID for their pain, one, they're going to build up a tolerance, which is not good for their body. But two, that's just masking the pain. It's not really doing anything. It's one thing if you have an acute injury and in the moment you have to take something, that's fine. But like chronically, or if you have like plantar fasciitis, for example, a lot of Western medicine doctors will tell you to take ibuprofen because it's an anti-inflammatory. And plantar fasciitis is inflammation in the plantar fascia. So theoretically, that would work great. Except that it doesn't help you long term. It just helps you in that moment, and then it wears off and it's inflamed again. So it just leads into this cycle. It's not actually fixing the problem. So I'm not anti-inflammatories, but I'm not for them.
Okay, cool.
I'm very much an herbal person. I use a very high quality arnica oil in my practice, so I'll put that on specific areas that are inflamed and angry. I'll put that on any bruising that they might have from cuts or maybe from scraping or anything like that. And then I'll usually recommend that they go buy some of it too to put on. I will forever recommend a CBD cream or an arnica oil over an NSAID or something over the counter
Beautiful.
because yeah, it's enough where with the herbal remedies you feel a difference, but it's not this like NSAIDs can be very much like, oh, finally the ibuprofen kicked in. Oh, okay, good, it's gone. And an herbal remedy is like, okay, no, I think it's easing up a little bit. That's nice. It
And
just
you,
is. It's more natural, and there's not like a tolerance, and it's not hiding anything. It's just helping.
I fear always re-injury. Because when you
Yeah.
take that anti-inflammatory, now you're numb to the pain, and now like
Mm-hmm.
that's when people can get in that loop of like that injury kind of never goes away because you can just kind of like tweak it and twist it and do things on it that you shouldn't be.
Yes, yes. And when you take like ibuprofen or something and the pain goes away, it's really hard to care for your body when you're not in pain. It's really hard to have that motivation when you're in a great place. It's almost like, and I'm not saying people should just sit in pain, but they should kind of sit in like a little bit of pain so that they're reminded that they need to do something about
I love that. That is wise. Those are
it.
wise words. I would love to know, like, and I know this is kind of a vulnerable question, but we're gonna like we'll have the polar opposite right after. What's been like your most embarrassing lesson as a business owner or therapist?
When I started my practice, I didn't think it was a business. I did not, like, I started my business without thinking it was a business. And so I am slightly embarrassed in how I presented myself for the first like 6 months to a year of that business because I would downplay myself in social situations or professional settings because I'm like, it's not a business, it's just what I do to make money. And I had passion for my clients and all of that, but I didn't actually view it as a business. And my business coach will tell you this. I started working with him back then too, very like every other month. And whenever I would meet with him, he would say like, okay, well, how much revenue have you brought in? What's the marketing? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Like, this isn't a business. This is just like, I have a few clients this week. And so it's not necessarily like, in hindsight, I'm slightly embarrassed by it because I wish I just owned it and was like, yeah, this is my business that I'm starting. And really something only clicked like a year and a half ago for me. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
What's been the biggest highlight in the last year and a half? Like one of a proud
Ooh.
moment that you can share.
Um, I was nominated and got chosen for Investopedia's one of 10 young successful entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
That was really cool. That was awesome. That and then growing my social media page over the last specifically 6 months. Things have really like my following has doubled in the last 6 months, and a lot of extra brands have been reaching out to me, and it's just a lot of that has been very validating for the work that I've put in, and it's been very much like, oh. And then I have a feeling that I'm going to have another highlight in the next week when we expand to a full-size clinic with 4 massage rooms and a yoga space and room to build a physical in-person community. So
Wow, I'm really excited to watch your journey. Like what
thank
you're
you.
doing online, I think is so formidable. A lot of pages that people build are kind of like cute and a little bit of practical knowledge, and you have just like every reel is a tip, and practical and relatable and easy to go back to. And often it's like, oh, I know exactly who needs to see this.
Yeah.
Because you have your friend in constant shoulder pain. It's like, oh, you need this.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, when I first when I started my page, I didn't know what I was doing. I did like half like trends and like quirky little videos, and then I did some educational, and I sat down with my PR friend, and she was like, "You need to pick one persona. You can either be really funny, you can be like lifestyle, or you can be educational." And I was like, okay, how do I want to be viewed as I grow my business? And I'm like, I want to be educational. I want people to take me seriously. I want people to ask me questions about their pain. And I want to give accessible education to people no matter where they are. And so that's what we're doing. Yeah.
I am curious about your level of DMs. Do you get DM'd like you're a doctor and it's just like unending hopelessness and you're just there with solutions?
Yes. Or I get a lot of DMs of people asking for specific muscles that I've already done videos on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate the messages. They're great. And that's why I've recently started repeating muscles that I did like 6 months ago, because they're just not in circulation anymore. And it's not reasonable to ask people to just scroll down to find the video.
I know. It's 500 videos deep. Don't worry.
Many. Yeah. I'm like, okay, guys, it's like the 400th row. Just count down. Yeah, lots of DMs, lots of people either telling me their whole chronic pain journey and asking for advice, or people thanking me for specific videos that have helped them immensely and they wish they knew sooner, or people just asking where the video for the erector spinae muscles are.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Somebody called me an influencer, and I'm like, man, I would never call myself an influencer. I'm an educator.
Yes.
Because an influencer is like, it makes me feel like I'm, taking scantily clad photographs or videos and like prepping out somebody's brand. It's like, no, I'm just there educating. I have a global business and social media happens to prop that up. And I really feel that way in your page. It's relatable. And I love that you're like, you are as you are. Like sometimes you like look like really put together like I do. And then sometimes you're just like, listen, I'm in a t-shirt. You're welcome for showing up today.
Yes. Like some videos I totally put on makeup and I brush my hair. And then other videos I'm like, this is the end of an insane week and I have to get a video put out. So this is what's happening right now.
Yeah. And I really I enjoy that of your page because I feel like you are not shielding all that you are. Yeah. Like it's a little weird when I go to some people's pages and they're perfectly 100% done up all the time. And it's like, come on, babe, I know you get your period too. Like, are you filming everything in 48 hours and then you're just kind of remixing those,
Yes. No, yes. Yeah. Like for the first probably like, I think almost a year of shooting content. Like I only got a ring light like a year ago. And I've been shooting content for 2 years and it took off right away. So for the first year of having probably like a 500,000 person following on all platforms, I didn't even have a ring light. I was just going off of the fluorescent light in my office. It was anyway. And then one person commented, I don't look at the comments very often, especially anymore until I have time to. But I noticed that it's the same thing you hear all the time of like the good comments are great, but the bad comments outweigh the good comments immensely. So I've limited that recently. But when I was going through all that and like learning all of this and like learning how to post and everything and listening to my audience a lot, one person commented, you'd think she'd have a ring light by now.
And you were like, I'm going to get one.
I was like, okay. And I bought a $20 one on Amazon. I was like, okay, all right, you're right. And then the same thing happened. Like I didn't have subtitles on my videos for the first like 6 months, probably maybe a year. And then one person commented, they were like, can you please add subtitles? You have one job. And I was like, you're right. I have one job here. I can add subtitles. You're right. By all means. And now there are subtitles on every video.
They are small. I want to let you know, if I was an older person, I would struggle reading your subtitles. So just a side note there.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
I literally read a comment about that this morning. I was looking at comments this morning, and I never do that. And I saw that on one of them that was like, can you make your subtitles bigger? And I'm like, okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Roger that.
I just sat down with Dr. Catherine Clinton. Do you follow her? The fascia.
I don't think so.
Oh, you would love her. She's a badass in the fascia world. And I got to sit down with her. And that day I had really struggled with some of the comments. And I had gotten a little brazen about talking about the microculture in South Florida is very vain. There's a plastic surgeon on every corner. Yep. So it's military grade propaganda towards making women feel insecure for any line, for every something that could be considered a thin lip. Yep. Anything that's less than a D boob, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, legit billboards of like, you're not enough, so come here. It's like, Jesus.
Oh my God.
So there's strip clubs and plastic surgeons, and I love my little microcult. I love where I live, but it's an incessant amount of people making money on insecurity. And I got a little brazen online, and I started talking about like gym culture down here and how hysterically weird it is when women go with full face makeup and they're in their cute little plastic onesie. And it's like, come on, ladies, what are we doing? And the comments were shredding me. I mean, how dare I express an opinion? And so I was on with Dr. Catherine, and I'm like, hey, you know, your channel is way bigger than mine. Like, what would you advise? And she goes, do you have anybody threatening your life or your family's life? And I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, you're fine. It's going to get so much worse. Like, she's like, just keep being yourself, and like, know that if they're agitated, it's because you're striking a chord, and don't be afraid to strike a chord. You need to be authentic and fucking be yourself. And I was like, thank you. Okay. That really set a precedent.
Yes. No, it's so true. And like, because I don't post anything like that because I have a very specific algorithm to my videos, but if I did, I would just turn the comments off. Ooh. Because that's what I would do. And that's what I've done on like other posts in the past from like, I don't know, but I'll just turn the comments off because I'm like, you know what? People shouldn't get the satisfaction of writing anything hateful here. I'm posting this because I want to post it and I want that information out there. And I don't really care what people have to say about it.
Wow. Okay. That's a beautiful way to kind of psychically protect yourself. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I know myself, and I would spiral real fast if there were a lot of bad comments or anything like that. I mean, to this day, if I see a comment that says like, that didn't work, I will be like, oh God, okay. Oh no. And then I'll feel like I need to like reply to the comment and be like, okay, wait, but did you try it this way? And like, make sure it's like in between these two bony processes. Make sure it's like, and then I'm like, what am I doing? No, the directions are there. Like, anyway.
There's no rule book. There's no rule book for the social media kingdom. And nobody, like, none of us know what we're doing. We're winging it. Mm-hmm. And when people are like, how did you do it? It's like, I've been winging it, homie. Yes.
Or, okay, one of the other things I'll say about those comments is that as a massage therapist, and like giving people like release videos, I would say more than hate comments or comments that are just like, that didn't work, I get more like sexual comments or like sexual DMs. And that's why we don't do as many videos on like the feet or the hips. We'll still do them, but they have to be on specific days where I'm mentally prepared for that.
Interesting.
And I have to shoot it in a way where it doesn't like,
it can't be,
you know, so I have to be particular and put extra energy into those videos and be aware, because even videos where I'm not intending, even videos of like the shoulder, I still get people that are like,
oh, you should
and blah, blah, blah. Like,
take that though. It's hysterical. I get 0 of those. 0. I'm like, I get 0 sexual DMs.
Want to trade
And
lives? Let's trade lives, please. That sounds great. That sounds great.
and I just feel like when people complain about it, I'm like, man, aren't you flattered? Like that's probably has gotta. I mean, you could still delete them and not respond, but
It's more, I think if I wasn't a massage therapist, because I've dealt with in person really creepy guys coming into the office and having to
okay.
fire them because they don't understand what's happening. I think maybe that's potentially why I'm extra sensitive to it on social media.
Okay.
Because I'm just like, I know that type of person, that exact
Mm.
person, and if they were in my clinic, I'd be firing them. I think that's how I view it. And so I do delete the comment or I block them or whatever. But when they comment, I'm just like, no, that's not what we're doing here. Like, I don't care. Like, that's not what we're doing here.
That's a nice line. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reel back in. I really appreciate that whole because people don't realize that like with a channel that as big as yours, like do you have anybody in your circle that is doing what you're doing?
No, not at
So
all.
it's like this is our chance to spitball about like the weird pros and cons to it, and
Mm-hmm.
the validation to me, I kind of let it wash over me. I try not to get too fired up, but it has
Mm-hmm.
been awesome to realize that the global community is ready for me and my local community is not.
Yeah. Yes. No, I feel the same way. In Boulder, there are not many people shooting content regularly in general, but also that like have the following that I have. And yeah, there's definitely no one in the circle. And so when you reached out and were like, let's have a conversation, I was like, please, this sounds amazing. Sign me up. Yes.
um, we covered all of the questions that I have. I kind of want to riff about fascia a little bit. Like, what got you into it? Because I'm sure that you didn't really learn it in massage school.
We learned about it anatomically in
Okay.
massage school. We didn't learn to the extent the power that it has. We
Where
didn't
did
learn.
you where did you get into it then?
I went through my own traumas like 5 years ago and got like after that I had IBS for a long time and that led me down like a whole thing very similar to the ribs, going from doctor to doctor and then coming out of it being like, wait, actually I just need to do this one thing. And for the IBS, it was like this mind body connection related to fascia and just storing emotions and trauma in my gut.
Hmm.
So it was a combination of somatic experiencing and talk therapy and trauma therapy and all that. But then it was also a variety of different fascial techniques to unlock certain areas there that once I found, and this is the same with like my ribs, it's like once I found the right algorithm for what my body needed, it just like clicked and things felt better. But it was like for that, I read The Body Keeps the Score. I read The Way Out that talks about pain reprocessing therapy, which talks more about chronic pain and injuries, but it's still applicable to the pattern that fascia has with emotions and with trauma in the body. And it doesn't matter if it's in a broken ankle or IBS, it's the same principle that's applied. And so honestly, I learned more about fascia from reading books and just working through my own stuff and like looking
Mm-hmm.
up information and watching people's reels and all that kind of stuff. I don't have, to this day, I don't have any specific like license or like certification in fascia, like
That's
advanced
okay.
fascial work. It's more
I
like
don't
I've,
either, if that
yeah,
makes you
right.
feel
No, it's just been like this deep core passion that I'm like, no, you have no idea the power that fascia holds. It is like, it is applicable in all facets of your life. And once you learn how to release it or even just regulate your nervous system,
mm-hmm.
you'll note like your fascia gets looser and it chills out and then you don't wake up as stiff and just all the things. Yeah.
I talk a lot about the brain and the breath connection and
Mm-hmm.
how you can be doing all of the right things, but if your breath rate is high, that's going to make your heart rate high, which is going to make your brain waves kind of chronically forward pressed, which makes
Mm-hmm.
your body tension up.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, what is the main Like, what's a good tip if somebody's watching this and they know that their shoulders are like this, they know that they're, a little ornery, they're a little intense, they're a little stressed out
Hmm.
chronically, what would be something that you would recommend for them to chill their nervous system out?
I would do a hot cold plunge. Like right as you said that, I think of like um my mom who works at a computer all the time, and she's
Mm-hmm.
who I've gotten a lot of my like stressful typing and like workaholicness that I've done like 6 years of therapy around. But I recently had a conversation with her because she has this chronic neck pain that doesn't go away. And she works at a computer all the time, and she's very like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And it's just like she doesn't get up for like 8 hours. And um, I recently was like, nope, you should do a hot cold plunge. It'll, because it shocks the nervous system in a way that wakes you up. And then you can do breath work, and then you can drink more water, and you can do fascial techniques and all that stuff. But I love a hot cold plunge because it wakes you up and it kind of
Okay.
clicks you out of fun.
I've literally never heard of a hot cold plunge. Like,
Oh, it's just like sauna and then ice bath.
oh,
Sauna.
okay.
That's just what I call it. Like a
Okay.
hot, cold. That's like the fast way that I put it. I'm like, it's a
Okay.
hot, cold plunge, but it's hot, hot, and
Okay.
then a cold plunge.
Got you. I was just picturing like a cold plunge that you're running at like 150 degrees and then you
Oh my
jump
God.
into something. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so the intermittent now, a lot of people when they go to like a day spa for the first time and they're like, oh,
Mhm.
cool, there's like a steam room and a sauna and like a cold bath. Do you have a sequence, like an old school Turkish ritual where it's like you want to do 15 minutes of this and then 2 minutes of this? Is there any walkthrough that you give them?
No.
I am shocked when I hang out at a spa and people like just sit in there for 7 minutes and then get out and then hang out in the sunshine and then go in the cold.
Yeah.
So I would like to outline real quick, because you said hot cold plunge, the old school Turkish way and the old school Native American way. So the Native
Mhm.
Americans used sweat lodges or inipis,
Mhm.
and there would be 4 rounds. So, and each round for them would be like 30 to 45 minutes. So
Mhm.
you'd be kind of cooking and then you would take like a 15-minute break. The
Mhm.
like the old school Russian banyas, the Turkish bathhouse, their
Mhm.
sequence is at least 15 minutes hot, if you can 20,
Mhm.
and then you would do like 2 to 5 minutes cold. And if you're
Yep.
gonna like dunk yourself in the cold, 2 minutes is great. If you're gonna do like a bucket shower, try to
Mhm.
do like 3 to 4 minutes so that your nervous system is kind of chilly. You're kind of like
Yeah.
shivering, then
Mhm.
go back into the heat. And then it's 4 rounds to me is a magic. And the way that I
Yes.
describe it to newbies is it's like your fascia, the collagen itself is a sponge.
Mhm.
So we're going to make it hot and then sweat. So like
Mhm.
that, if you're only in there for 10 minutes, you might get a little bit of a sweat, but you're not going to get that deep core.
Yep.
That's the point of getting past 15
Mhm.
minutes. And you'll
Yep.
notice when like a lot of times when you go into a sauna, there is a like a little sand timer. So
Mhm.
some people like sometimes like I'll move it and they'll be like, I've never seen that before. And it's like, this is your clock, baby. Like this is what makes us feel like we have a goal in mind here.
Yep. Yep.
So we want to make everything open, 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 sweat, sweat, sweat. And then we go
Mhm.
into the cold and it constricts it. And it's within this opening and closing of the sponge like tissue that we can feel like we're wringed out. So
Mhm.
it's like really moving everything in its core. Um,
Yes.
I guess I'm reminding both of us, like when we recommend sauna, we should probably touch on that because I don't think most people have been like walked through a bathhouse
Mhm.
properly where they know
Mhm.
what they're doing. They just go in, they sweat for 8 minutes and they're like, I did it. It's like, no,
Yeah,
you
no,
didn't
definitely.
do it.
That's a great reminder because usually when I talk to my clients, I tell them I'm like at least 2 minutes in the ice bath, no longer than seven. No longer than seven. There's no need for you to be in there.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And usually they don't want to be in there for 7 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I have had clients that say that they tried a cold plunge, say that they didn't really feel anything, that it was just annoying and torturous. And I asked how long they were in the ice bath, and they were like 20 seconds. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try it again. Sorry I didn't clarify before. We're gonna do 2 to 3 minutes, up to like 5 to 7, and then and Yeah, so I think I usually focus more on the ice because people don't want to be in there. I think sauna is um, clients are more likely to like it's easier to tell someone to sit in the sauna for 20 minutes, and so I kind of forget about that part. But the ice bath, I'm like at least two, at least two.
There is this amazing study I read. It was oh god, I read it so long ago. It was a European study, long, like 30-year long study about a group of men who would do regular sauna, and the
Mm-hmm.
gentleman that would do 45 minutes of sauna 5 days a week, all of their levels of like heart, cancer, diabetes, immune system issue,
Mm-hmm.
everything was so drastically low. So if somebody's watching this and you're like, I hate the cold, it's like, well, just sit in the sauna for 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's still
Just
super beneficial.
just let it
Yep.
out. And my laziest clients, the ones that like they resent the movement, it's like, okay, so then you're going to do hot baths and you're going to do
Mm-hmm.
saunas, because there
Yes.
is a magic of salt. Do you talk much with your clients about like minerals or salt intake?
When it's applicable, yes.
Okay.
I think I talk to them more about um, like I think that's like the second level of things that I'll talk to them about once we have more of a rapport and we're getting into the heavier details.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's been a big thing that's impacted my life when I started regulating my hormones specifically like a year and a half ago. I started that journey, and that was a big thing for me, was like changing the water that I was drinking and then adding in the right minerals and getting the right amount of those things. So I'll talk to them a bit about that and making sure that they're getting all their nutrients when they are hydrating. But yeah.
What's your recommendation? Because I've been in a constant experimentation with different salts. Currently, my favorite recommendation to clients is survival moss. They found a way to dehydrate sea moss, which has like so many of the minerals that we need,
Yeah.
but there's not like the heavy metal concern. Like some of the
Mm-hmm.
beautiful salts that I used to recommend now have not passed some of these testings. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
feeling really good about sea moss because you can't really overdose it. It has all the
Mm-hmm.
minerals we need.
Yeah.
It doesn't upset the kidneys the same way because we're taking it in a totally different form.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of like my mainstay. If you'd like me to introduce you to the company, they're beautiful, like a husband wife team. She came out of illness, but I feel really good about that company. What about you? Like, have
Yeah.
you found a source that you love?
Yeah. First of all, definitely send me that information because I've heard a lot about CMOS. I've never tried it. But I
It's
would love
pretty,
to. Like
it's
I've read.
unstable. In
Mm-hmm.
the gel form, it only lasts like 2 weeks. So this was the first time I found
Yeah.
it dehydrated where I could leave it there for a couple of months and not worry about
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. Please send me like connect
Okay,
us or just like send me the link to their website or something. I would love to do that.
cool.
Um, I mean, right now, like I work with a naturopath for regulating my hormones, and that's where I've learned about like the minerals and salt intake and everything like that. To this day, I just do a pinch of like the Redmond's salt, like the real salt, into
Okay.
my purified water, and that's just what I do, and that's worked well for me. I think I've not gotten into the super nitty gritty details of it all. Um, but that's what I tell clients. I'm like, this is what I do, and it works for me right now. But if this is a big thing and you want to get into the nitty gritty details, or you do it and you're like, this isn't making a difference, then I would go see a naturopath, someone that just knows all of those tiny details about it, that can give you that information. Just because it's not my specialty, I know exactly what I know about it from my own experience, and that's it. But I
Cool.
am glad that I know what I know about it so I can inform people and then tell them to go see someone else for it.
When if you want to take a deep dive, I did 2 podcasts with major water researchers. One out of Canada that opened
Mm-hmm.
up something called Vicus Water. It's a structured water company, spring water, run through ozone, then run through a crystal
Mm-hmm.
until it hums, so
Oh my
that
gosh.
the lattice structure of water can be held in a hexagonal shape. So, like right now, Dr. Gerald Pollack is a gentleman. I think he's gunning for the Nobel Prize because what he's introducing is kind of going to dismantle cell biology in some ways
Mm.
and shift us into this more electric model.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the middle of his book right now, and it's all about exclusion water and easy water and
Mm-hmm.
how like water in a bottle when it just sits here pretty stagnant, he considers this bulk water. And the molecules can kind of like realign themselves so that people can drink a ton of water and it just kind of passes through them. They go pee a lot, but they don't particularly feel hydrated.
Right.
And to restructure it, we can like, it can take a lot of different forms. We can do it from home. You can put it in the sunshine for a period of time. You can swirl it till there's a vortex. That itself restructures it. But when the molecules are aligned in this exclusion hexagonal shape, which is what coconut water is, it's what cold pressed juices naturally are, which is why sometimes when you drink a juice, you're like, oh, I feel really hydrated right now. His work is really shifting my perspective of what is like what I thought was hydration and what true hydration can actually like move through the body easier.
Right.
It's easier for it to be uptaked and it's easier for the body to make use of it because these tiny little molecules are in a alignment. So instead of being clustered, and it makes a lot of sense with diagrams. I'm just using my hands right now.
No, that makes total.
And then Veda Austin is a water researcher out of New Zealand that is taking this whole different layer of studying how water structure changes based on water, words, intention. And in the old school method, which came from Masaru Emoto, the Japanese guy that opened the Hado school, you've probably seen some of his work. Like if you talk to water and then they flash freeze it and then they show you the crystallography.
Yeah.
That's the next breed of that is about allowing water to talk back to us, which is why sound is so amazing for us. Like when we make sound, when we hum, when we tone, we are actually reorganizing the water within ourselves. And it's just stuff that you probably kind of innately know, but it bolsters our reinforcement of like, wow, you know, discussing the quality of water. Like I'm at a point where I would never drink purified water, but I used to be into it because it kind of tasted good and there was kind of like natural electrolytes in it. But what I've gained and gathered from these guys is like, wow, the structure of the water and the quality of the water, I want it to be in this exclusion. And it's, I'm still wrapping my mind around it. But as I've increased the cold pressed juices, the coconut water, the water that I expose to sunshine, I have noticed a tremendous difference. Something to keep in mind, you know?
Yeah, that's a whole realm that fascinates me and I've not looked into. So I would love, like, after this, please email me literally any and all of your resources and I would love to like nerd out and do that. Also, Walter is joining us.
Hi, Walter. Hello. Look at our co-host. Do you guys have anything to say? Walter and Luna have joined the podcast.
Yes.
Well, babe, I got to tell you, I tremendously respect the sovereignty that you're bringing to athletes. I feel like very few massage therapists are talking about giving tools back into the hands of people. And I think that your work is going to just continue to crush. And I would love to link arms with you with some of these amazing affiliates that I have found because they're companies that I truly believe in. I've never signed up with somebody just because they've sent me some free shit.
Yep,
I've always said, like, listen, I'm going to try your product for 3 months and I may never post about it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to, you know, hurt my integrity. But the ones that I have signed up, damn, I want to see them win because they are like flagship companies that could really change like where we're putting our dollars and like what kind of future we're creating. So as I learn, I would love to share all the tools with you. As you learn, please like fill me in too.
Yes, I would love it. We are a package deal queen. We are a team now. Yeah, I would love to do that, and we need to catch up soon.
Grace, if people are wanting to just find more of you, wanting to come and get a massage by you or some of your team, where can they find you?
Yes, so you can go to our website at eliteinjuryrehab.com. And that will have all of our social tags on there. We have 2 different Instagram pages. One of them is the one that we know and love with all of the release videos. The other one is a more business-oriented one where I'm doing a series right now on day in the life of a 23-year-old businesswoman scaling her business 400% this summer. So we're doing that right now. But otherwise, we are opening an injury rehab clinic in Boulder. The grand opening is on August 15th.
So excited for you.
So excited. And that's in Boulder, and the information will be on our website. You can schedule an appointment online, or give us a call or shoot us an email to book a session. We'll have injury rehab massage, we'll have acupuncture, we'll have very specific injury rehab related yoga classes, and a lot of free community classes as well to build a community in the injury and chronic pain world. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. I really commend you for continuing to grow, for continuing to learn, for continuing to expand. The world is ready for what you're bringing to people. So thank you for just being you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.